You've tuned in to episode 96 of the 4Ps. There are 4 weeks to go in December, 4 more 4Ps to go until our 100th episode. I'm thinking maybe we throw a worldwide, crazy, global party for the 100th episode right around December 31st. And everyone's invited. Many of you know that there were 4 Ps of marketing before I ever made these 4 Ps internationally famous. Price, product, some other things. But this week, I was repeatedly inundated with an ad on LinkedIn, in French nonetheless, for something called the 4 Ps of France. Now, I love France. I love the French. You are my people, my adopted homeland. But I'm hoping someone there in France with some legal background or training can fill me in and brief me on your copyright or IP infringement law, because these people need to be shut down. So here are the authentic, best ever, world's greatest 4 Ps. Somehow, my driver's license, my passport, my TSA pre-check all expire in the next few weeks or month. Not only that, I can't actually find my social security card either. So basically, I am on the verge of being identityless, which in modern America won't force me to starve, but will make it hard for me to get on an airplane. And Lord knows I have been on and will need to be on a few of those. Remarkably, renewing or replacing these documents is not as easy as a click or just pay online. I'm looking at weeks of visits to municipal or government offices, printing things out and signing things and mailing things and getting postage and then waiting. Look, I know there are important safety measures in place to ensure proper documentation, but technology has basically made it so that I've had the same amount of cash in my pocket without spending or going to an ATM since sometime in October. Yes, I went the entire month of November without spending $1 in cash. So I ask again, why is renewing or replacing documents that I already have that are expiring, why is it so fucking hard? This week saw the end of yet another Democratic presidential hopeful's candidacy. Thank you, California Senator Kamala Harris. You were the candidate who I initially and originally chose as my candidate. You are intelligent and spirited and ran an issues-oriented campaign, and your voice in this race matters and still will. But what it shows is that money still rules all. And while Senator Harris may have made some communication or positioning errors along the way, she's dropping out because she didn't get the financial backing and support from donors necessary to stay in the race. Yet, 2 billionaires who are basically self-funding their own candidacy, admittedly both of whom would be far better than Trump, and I'm talking about Tom Steyer and Bloomberg, they're still in it and will be on that debate stage. Yet they were polling at or below where Senator Harris was. We're seeing lots of old, straight, white men still ruling politics. And that is not only unfortunate, it's bad for America. And I get that as a straight white man saying this, it's a bit ironic, but we are very quickly becoming just another bloc. And that's good for America. So I would love to be able to vote for someone who doesn't look like me for a change. So as we get closer to the end of the year, we're starting to see think pieces and predictions, not for the next year, but for the next decade. But here's the problem. This is not the end of a decade and the beginning of a new decade. No, we've still got one more year. Technically, decades, centuries, millennia start at the year 1, not at the year 0. So just because it starts with 202 something doesn't mean it's the 20s yet. Remember, there was no year 1. So decades start on year 1 and end on year 0. So we've still got 1 more year left. Look, if you want to make predictions for the next decade, great. But you still got about 13 months before you really need to lock those in. Isn't it interesting that we're starting to see the emergence of some new digital and social platforms? The latest is something called WT Social, which was created by some former social network employees at another company. And there are more. Just yesterday, another one from former Facebookers came out. Here's the challenge. These things aren't going to catch on because our appetite for them is at an all-time low, because our patience and tolerance for these platforms to iterate and evolve and adapt and tweak their user experience or their look and feel or their value offering is also at an all-time low. So even though something like WT Social, which I just joined last week, has some compelling ideas behind it, it's basically a topic-based wiki where you can follow and subscribe to different types of threads of different topics. It's such a terrible user experience that I'm not going back. Frankly, there isn't anything there for me yet. My patience for that is 0. So I'd rather join something late that is already established because the kids have already given their feedback, have already made it popular, have already seeded it with content. The TikToks and Snapchats of the world. So for something new to come in, it's going to have to be really compelling. They're going to have taken their time and invested a lot of money and resources and energy into getting it right on the first time. No soft launches, no let's launch and make it better over time. It's not going to work, folks. Sorry.